My name is Joni Lambert, and I have a son in middle school at Timbercrest, but I also grew up in the Northshore School District. I went to Maywood and Kenyon Park and Bothell. I'm a program project manager in communicable disease and immunization at Public Health, Seattle and King County. And my coworkers and I are referred to by the nickname disease detectives. And so just to kind of back up here, each county in our state has a public health department, and I work for the King County one. And there are many diseases that affect humans and animals, but not all of them are reportable or notifiable diseases. And what happens for a reportable or notifiable disease is that when a doctor or veterinarian diagnoses a person or animal with certain diseases, they also have to let the health department so that the health department can stop the spread of that disease. That's usually something very infectious. And the health department wants to learn more about it and find ways to prevent it in the future. Our job is to keep everybody healthy. Some examples of communicable diseases that are reportable and public health investigates are animal bites. So if you were to get bitten by a dog that you suspected to have had rabies, or if you find a dead bat, you would call our health department. If you got sick at a restaurant and got diagnosed with E. coli, that would come to us, or the West Nile virus, which is caused by mosquitoes, Ebola, which you might have seen in a movie, tularemia, which is a disease caused by tick bites or contact with an infected wild rabbit, or HIV. I know this is our people's fourth session. So what would you like to know about my job?
How long have you been doing it for?
I have been doing my current job for 3 years.
But what college did you graduate from to get in the job that you have?
I went to the University of Washington in Seattle. And
yeah.
the degree actually didn't contribute to my job. I actually did an arts and sciences degree, which was bioethics, and I focused on women's health. I transitioned to my current job because of an interest from my previous job.
Oh, that's cool.
And people come from all different backgrounds that work at public health as investigators. Some of the best investigators are journalists because they get right in there and get all the details that you need to know about a disease or the people infected and the activities of their lives, and are just really good communicators.
That's cool.
I started out in my position as what would be referred to as a contact tracer, but the title is a disease intervention specialist. And so I started out focusing on individuals infected with a disease and how they got it, talking to them over the phone, sometimes actually going up to their front door and knocking on their door if they didn't know they had the disease, but their doctor diagnosed it from a lab test. And also identifying anybody that might have been exposed and reaching out to them confidentially. And then I progressed into investigating outbreaks, which are when multiple people have a disease from any one place or connected to an event. And now I oversee people investigating those. So if somebody were to I currently work on COVID, but prior to COVID, I worked on 2 diseases, syphilis and gonorrhea. But with COVID, if somebody were to have an outbreak from their sports event, a bunch of people got sick all from one football game, that would land on my desk.
So do you work, do you go to work right at this stage of COVID right now? Do you go to work or do you work from home?
We were all working together in the very beginning of COVID, and we quickly realized that we needed to actually work from home just like everybody else to keep us safe too. So most of us are telecommuting and doing the same thing that you all are doing, like Zoom calls, meeting up, talking on the phone. And occasionally I have to go out into the field to like a workplace and do a site visit. So I might have to, like, if a construction site had an outbreak, I'd have to wear my hard hat and my mask and go out and see with my own eyes, like, what's happening so I can help them stop their outbreak. And I can't keep up with the chat here. Feel free to just say it out loud. I just want to be able to engage people, as this is the 4th session and I know people are probably getting tired and hungry.
What's the hardest part of your job?
The hardest part of my job is sometimes like the volume of work, depending, like with COVID, you know, there's lots of outbreaks. And sometimes it's feeling like we're not helping stop things quick enough because it's really, really big. But the most rewarding part is that we work as a team and we do actually help people. And, you know, like if a workplace has an outbreak, we've been able to stop that. And so people feel like they're in control again and can return to business as usual, not be closed.
So what's your job called again?
I am a project manager for public health. I'm an investigator for public health.
What's your like schedule? Like what time do you have to start work? What time do you have to end work? How many days a week? Like how is it for you?
Job, I work Monday through Friday, and before COVID, I worked just an 8-hour day,
Nice.
just regular work hours. And then after COVID, I still work Monday through Friday, but I work more like 10-hour days. And sometimes I'll work on the weekends, depending on what's happening. But, you know, they're really careful to make sure everybody has enough energy, that we've got enough balance in our lives, that we're staying healthy while we're working.
Yeah.
When you go to like sites and places that have an outbreak, do you risk like getting the disease or something?
That's definitely always a risk, but we wear our personal protective equipment. And usually the people that are infected aren't present, like they're all isolating at home and there's already been a deep cleaning. It's more like looking at maybe what drove infection to transmit. So a business might just need an extra hand, like looking at, do we have too many people coming into our lunchroom, or too many people crowding in an elevator? Are the hallways narrow, like people are just coming into close contact? Our ventilation system, is that working? Okay, like is that giving us enough fresh air coming through our building? So I feel pretty safe actually going into the field. Some of my colleagues that go into like healthcare settings, that's definitely riskier, but they've been okay.
How does your job interfere with like your family and social life?
I think that I have a really good work-life balance. Part of that's because working for public health, it's all about it's about keeping people healthy. And so they recognize that for their workers and, you know, encourage us to take our breaks, not work too many hours. And we actually also make time to do activities with each other that aren't work related. Every Friday we meet for an hour to play games. We play Pictionary. We've done all kinds of stuff. On Hobbit Day in September, we drew our own Hobbit houses in a Zoom call and all kinds of fun stuff. So I definitely think that there's a lot of balance, even in the middle of a pandemic, because we don't want anybody to burn out.
I want
Is your job more male or female dominated? Or is it equal?
I would say it's equal, and we also have trans colleagues too. So it's very diverse, and also diverse in terms of age. I have some coworkers that are very close to retirement, and some coworkers that are very young, and coworkers like middle-aged coworkers. And definitely a lot of diversity with where people are from and language is represented. Never a bad thing to learn a new language. That helps in every job, but especially public health. Any other questions?
Well, I don't know if you can say for like privacy reasons, do you have like a favorite case that you've worked with or someone you've worked with?
We can't disclose cases, although there's some things like there's a dashboard for King County that you can learn about like what's happening on any given day. For the COVID response, you can look at like which facilities, like which nursing homes have outbreaks, and other information like what areas have more cases. But in terms of details about like, we don't ever share out anything identifying about like specific people. I've had a variety of cases. And in the beginning of working on COVID, which is all new to everybody, like I didn't work on COVID before, like I worked on different diseases and COVID was new to everybody. We all worked on different cases. Like I might work on a shelter outbreak or a nursing home outbreak or a doctor's office outbreak or a workplace outbreak. And I think the most interesting thing is that there's never a dull moment, that every day is interesting. There's always something new and different, and we learn as a group daily. And we all support each other.
An interesting question popped in about, have you ever had to go out of the country for your job? I don't know, or are you all about King County or local?
So the health departments only focus on their own county. And so if I find out somebody somebody from King County went to like a party and there was an outbreak in Tacoma, I would let the other county know that this person went to a party that had an outbreak, and then they handle that. So like I only focus on the people here in King County. I've definitely traveled to learn more. Like I went through CDC training out of the state.
And there was a question about whether you work with animals as well as people or just with people.
I don't myself, but my coworkers do. So there's plenty of diseases that are communicable that involve animals. And I've got 2 coworkers that are public health veterinarians. One of them's a CDC intelligence officer as well. And they get to do all kinds of cool animal stuff. Like they get to go out to like people's homes and test animals and go look for ticks and all kinds of stuff. So there's definitely, like if you're interested in animals, public health is also a great place.
One person asked what subjects are involved in your job. So I'm not 100% sure what they mean by that, but a variety of different things potentially.
Most of what's involved is learning biology. Math is important, but also just communication. And paying attention in English class is helpful too, because you want to be able to clearly communicate to your community or a place that had an outbreak very, very well and very quickly, clear guidance. So all subjects are important, but biology is probably the most important.
What formal education did you go through to work in this profession?
I have a bachelor's degree, and then I went back after my bachelor's degree, so after my 4-year degree, and then took additional science, but that wasn't required. I would say it's pretty much a given that most workplaces expect that you have a 4-year degree at this point, or a 2-year degree. But for my particular job, like my specific degree wasn't a factor. It was more my work experience and the classes I took. I found my job later after a different job. My colleagues that are younger, that have taken more of a traditional path, have typically gone to the University of Washington in Seattle and done their undergrad in public health and then done a master's degree in public health. And there's a couple different programs for public health for a master's degree. Some people have done like epidemiology focused programs, and some people have done programs that's more focused. It's like a broader focus for public health.
Well, we are almost at the end of our time. Did you want to share your link with the students again?
Sure.
Thank you all for your great questions, and sorry if we didn't get to yours in particular. I really appreciate your excellent listening, students.
That's a link to solve a game, guys. So it's a game.
Yeah, it's from the CDC.
And then you can all practice for your opportunity to be in this position later on too. All right, everybody. Well, we are at 11:15, which concludes Career Day, but don't leave until you say thank you to our fabulous speaker, presenter, and we appreciate your great attention as well.